Double Carnations by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgate Novelist. A wild pink nestled in a garden bed, a rich carnation flourished high above her. One day he chanced to see her pretty head, and leaned, and looked again, and grew to love her. The moss, her humble mother, saw with fear the ardent glances of the princely stranger. With many an anxious thought and dewy tear, she sought to hide her darling from this danger. The gardener guardian of this noble bud, a cruel trellis interposed between them. No common pink should mate with royal blood, he said, and sought in every way to wean them. The poor pink pined and faded day by day. Her restless lover from his prison bower called in a priestly bee who passed that way, and sent a message to the sorrowing flower. The fainting pink wept as the bee drew near, droning his prayers, and begged him to confess her. Her weary mother, overtaxed by fear, slept, while the priest leaned low to shrive and bless her. But lo! Ere long the tale went creeping out, the rich carnation and the pink were married. The cunning bee had brought the thing about, while Mamma Moss in slumber's arms had tarried. And proud descendants of that loving pair, the offspring of that true and ardent passion, are famous for their beauty everywhere, and leaders in the floral world of fashion. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Never Mind by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Diana Schmidt. Whatever your work and whatever its worth, no matter how strong or clever, someone will sneer if you pause to hear and scoff at your best endeavor. For the target art has a broad expanse, and wherever you chance to hit it, though close be your aim to the bull's eye's fame, there are those who will never admit it. Though the house applauds while the artist plays, and a smiling world adores him, somebody is there with an ennuied air to say that the acting bores him. For the tower of art has a lofty spire, with many a stair and landing, and those who climb seem small oft-time to one at the bottom standing. So work along in your chosen niche, with a steady purpose to nerve you. Let nothing men say who pass your way relax your courage or swerve you. The idle will flock by the temple of art, for just the pleasure of gazing, but climb to the top and do not stop, though they may not all be praising. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two Women by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. I know two women, and one is chaste, and cold as the snows on a winter waste, stainless ever in act and thought, as a man, born dumb, in speech errs not. But she has malice toward her kind, a cruel tongue and a jealous mind. Void of pity and full of greed, she judges the world by her narrow creed. A brewer of quarrels, a breeder of hate, yet she holds the key to society's gate. The other woman, with heart of flame, went mad for a love that marred her name, and out of the grave of her murdered fate she rose like a soul that has passed through death. Her aims are noble, her pity so broad, it covers the world like the mercy of God. A soother of discord, a healer of woes, peace follows her footsteps wherever she goes. The worthier life of the two, no doubt, and yet society locks her out. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
It All Will Come Out Right by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Jude. Whatever is a cruel wrong, whatever is unjust, the honest years that speed along will trample in the dust. In restless youth I railed at fate with all my puny might, but now I know if I but wait, it all will come out right. Though vice may don the judge's gown and play the censor's part, and fact be cowed by falsehood's frown, and nature ruled by art, though labour toils through blinding tears, and idle wealth is might, I know the honest earnest years will bring it all out right. Though poor and loveless creeds may pass for pure religion's gold, though ignorance may rule the mass, while truth meets glances cold, I know a law complete sublime controls us with its might, and in God's own appointed time it all will come out right. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Warning by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. There was a flame, oh, such a tiny flame. One fleeting hour had spanned its birth and death, but for a silly child with playful breath, who fanned it into fury, it became a mighty conflagration. Ah, the cost! House, home, and thoughtless child alike were lost. Lady, beware! Fan not the harmless glow of admiration into ardent love. Lean not with red-curled smiling lips above the flickering spark of sinless flame, and blow, lest in the sudden waking of desire, thou, like the child, shalt perish in the fire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Shrines by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. About a holy shrine, or sacred place, where many hearts have bowed in earnest prayer, the loveliest spirits congregate from space, and bring their sweet, uplifting influence there. If in your chamber you pray oft and well, soon will these angel messengers arrive, and make their home with you, and where they dwell, all worthy toil and purposes shall thrive. I know a humble, plainly furnished room, so thronged with presences serene and bright, the heaviest heart therein forgets its gloom, as in some gorgeous temple filled with light. Those heavenly spirits, beauteous and divine, live only in an atmosphere of prayer. Make for yourself a sacred, fervent shrine, and you will find them swiftly flocking there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Watcher by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Domenica Campbell. She gave her soul and body for a carriage, and livened lackey with a vacant grin, and all the rest, house, lands, and called it marriage. The bargain made, a husband was thrown in. And now, despite her luxury, she's faded, gone is the bloom that was so fresh and bright. She has the dark-rimmed eye, the countenance jaded, of one who watches with the sick at night. Ah, heaven, she does, her sick heart, sick and dying, beyond the aid of human skill to save. In that cold room her breast is hourly lying, and her grim thoughts crowd near to dig its grave. And yet it lingers, suffering and wailing, as sick hearts will that feed upon despair, and that lone watcher, unrelieved, is paling with vigils that no pitying soul can share. Ah, lady, it is hardly what you thought it, this life of luxury and social power. You gave yourself as principal and bought it, but God extracts the interest, hour by hour. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Swimming Song by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, sung for LibriVox.org by Iswa in Belgium in July 2015. I am coming, coming to thee, my strong-armed lover, the sea. On thy great broad breast I will lie and rest, and thou shalt talk to me. I have come to thee all unsought, I have stolen an hour from thought, and peace and power thou canst give in that hour which thy rival earth gives not. Alone here under the sky, and the whole world drifting by, thy breast of brine thrills close to mine, while the cloudless sun sails high. I fly, but thou givest chase, thy kisses around my face. Be bold and free as thou wilt, O sea. There is life in thy close embrace, throat and cheek and tress are damp where thy salt lips press. There is strength and bliss in thy daring kiss, and joy in thy bold caress. And what is the earth to me? I have left it all, O sea, with its dust and soil, and strife and toil, for one glad hour with thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Law by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Diana Schmidt. The sun may be clouded, yet ever the sun will sweep on its course till the cycle is run. And when into chaos the systems are hurled, again shall the builder reshape a new world. Your path may be clouded, uncertain your goal. Move on, for the orbit is fixed for your soul. And though it may lead into darkness of night, the torch of the builder shall give it new light. You were and you will be, know this while you are. Your spirit has traveled both long and afar. It came from the source, to the source it returns. The spark that was lighted eternally burns. It slept in the jewel, it leapt in the wave, it roamed in the forest, it rose in the grave. It took on strange garbs for long eons of years, and now in the soul of yourself it appears. From body to body your spirit speeds on. It seeks a new form when the old one is gone. And the form that it finds is the fabric you wrought on the loom of the mind with the fibre of thought. As dew is drawn upward in rain to descend, your thoughts drift away and in destiny blend. You cannot escape them, or petty or great, or evil or noble, they fashion your fate. Somewhere on some planet, sometime and somehow, your life will reflect all the thoughts of your now. The law is unerring, no blood can atone. The structure you rear you must live in alone. From cycle to cycle, through time and through space, your lives with your longings will ever keep pace. and all that you ask for, and all you desire, must come at your bidding as flames out of fire. Once list to that voice, and all tumult is done. Your life is the life of the Infinite One. In the hurrying race you are conscious of pause, with love for the purpose and love for the cause. You are your own devil, you are your own God. You fashioned the paths that your footsteps have trod, and no one can save you from error or sin until you shall hark to the Spirit within. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love, Time, and Will by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. A soul immortal, Time, God everywhere, without, within, how can a heart despair? Or talk of failure, obstacles, and doubt? What proofs of God? The little seeds that sprout, life and the solar system and their laws. Nature? Ah, yes, but what was nature's cause? All mighty words are short. God, life, and death, war, peace, and truth are uttered in a breath, and briefly said are love, and will, and time, yet in them lies a majesty sublime. Love is the vast constructive power of space, time is the hour which calls it into place. Will is the means of using time and love, and bringing forth the heart's desires thereof. The way is love, the time is now, and will the patient method. Let this knowledge fill thy consciousness, and fate and circumstances, environment, and all the ills of chance must yield before the concentrated might of those three words, as shadows yield to light. Go charge thyself with love. Be infinite and opulent with thy large use of it. 'Tis from free sowing that full harvest springs. Love God and life and all created things. Learn time's great value. To this mandate bow. The hour of opportunity is now. And from thy will, as from a well-strung bow, let the swift arrows of thy wishes go. Though sent into the distance and the dark, the dawn shall prove thy arrows hit the mark. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Two Ages by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. On great cathedral window I have seen a summer sunset swoon and sink away, lost in the splendors of immortal art. Angels and saints and all the heavenly hosts, with smiles undimmed by half a thousand years, from wall and niche have met my lifted gaze. Sculpture and carving and illumined page, and the fair, lofty dreams of architects that speak of beauty to the centuries, all these have fed me with divine repasts, yet in my mouth is left a bitter taste, the taste of blood that stained the age of art. Those glorious windows shine upon the black and hideous structure of the guillotine. Beside the haloed countenance of saints there hangs the multiple and knotted lash. The Christ of love, benign and beautiful, looks at the torture rack, by hate conceived and bigotry sustained. The prison cell, with blood-stained walls, where starving men went mad, lies under turrets matchless in their grace. God, what an age! How was it that you let colossal genius and colossal crime walk for 100 years across the earth, like giant twins? How was it then that men, conceiving such vast beauty for the world, and such large hopes of heaven, could entertain such hellish projects for their fellow men? How could the hand that, with consummate skill and loving patience, limned the luminous page, drop pen and brush, and seize the branding rod, to scourge a brother for his differing faith. Not great this age in beauty or art, nothing is wrought to day that shall endure, for earth's adornment through long centuries, not ours the fervid worship of God, that wastes its splendid opulence on glass, leaving but hate to give it mortal kin. Yet great this age, its mighty work is man knowing himself, the universal life, and great our faith which shows itself in works for human freedom and for racial good. The true religion lies in being kind. No age is greater than its faith is broad. Through liberty and love men climb to God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Couleur de Rose by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. I want more lives in which to love this world so full of beauty. I want more days to use the ways I know of doing duty. I ask no greater joy than this, so much I am life's lover, when I reach age to turn the page and read the story over. O love, stay near. O rapturous promise of the spring, O June fulfilling after. If autumns sigh when summers die, 'tis drowned in winter's laughter. O maiden dawns, O wifely noons, O siren sweet, sweet nights. I'd want no heaven, could earth be given again with its delights, if love stayed near. There are such glories for the eye, such pleasures for the ear. The senses reel with all they feel, and see and taste and hear. There are such ways of doing good, such ways of being kind, and bread that's cast on waters fast comes home again, I find. O love, stay near. There are such royal souls to know, there is so much to learn, while secrets rest in nature's breast, and unnamed stars still burn. God toiled 6 days to make this earth, I think the good folks say. 6 lives we need to give full meed of praise, one for each day, if love stay near. But oh, if love fled far away, or veiled his face from me, one life too much, why then were such a life as this would be. With sullen May and blighted June, blurred dawn and haggard night, this dear old world in space were hurled, if love lent not his light. O love, stay near. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Last Love by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. The first flower of the spring is not so fair, or bright as one the ripe midsummer brings. The first faint note the forest warbler sings is not as rich with feeling, or so rare, as when, full master of his art, the air drowns in the liquid sea of song he flings, like silver spray from beak and breast and wings. The artist's earliest effort, wrought with care, the bard's first ballad, written in his tears, set by his later toil, seems poor and tame, and into nothing dwindles at the test. So with the passions of maturer years, let those who will demand the first fond flame give me the heart's last love, for that is best. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Life's Track by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Domenica Campbell. This game of life is a dangerous play. Each human soul must watch alway, from the first to the very last. I care not, however, strong and pure, let no man say he is perfectly sure the dangerous reefs are past. For many a rock may lurk near by that never is seen when the tide is high. Let no man dare to boast. When the hand is full of trumps, beware, for that is the time when thought and care and nerve are needed most. As the oldest jockey knows to his cost, full many a well-run race is lost, a brief half-length from the wire. And many a soul that has fought with sin and gained each battle at last gives in to sudden, fierce desire. And vain seems the effort of spur and whip, or the hoarse, hot cry of the pallid lip. When once we have fallen back, it is better to keep on stirrup and rein, the steady poise and the careful strain, in speeding along life's track. A watchful eye and a strong, true hand will carry us under the judge's stand, if prayer, too, does its part, and little by little the struggling soul will grow and strengthen and gain control over the passionate heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Ode to Time by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bundy98. Ho, sportsman Time, whose chargers fleet the moments, madly driven, beat in the dust beneath their feet, sweet hopes that years have given. Turn, turn aside those reckless steeds. Oh, do not urge them my way. There's nothing that Time wants or needs in this contented byway. You have downtrodden in your race so much that proves your power. Why not avoid my humble place? Why rob me of my dower? With your vast cellars cavern deep, packed tier on tier with treasures, you would not miss them should I keep my little store of pleasures. As one who, frightened, flying, flings her riches down at random, your course is paved with precious things life casts before your tandem. The warrior's fame, the conqueror's crown, great creeds for ages cherished, beneath your chariot wheels were thrown, and, crushed to earth, they perished. Although to just and generous deeds your heart is not a stranger, I have the feeling that one needs to guard his wealth from danger. And though a most heroic light oft in your pathway lingers, I'd hide my treasures, if I might, from contact with your fingers. You are the loyal friend of truth. Go seek her, make her stronger, and leave the remnant of my youth to me a little longer. There's work enough for you before eternity shall wed you. Why stoop to steal my simple store? Why make me shun and dread you? You do not need my joys, I say. Home, love, and friends united, I beg you turn and go the way where wrong waits to be righted. Or pause, and let us chat awhile. I'll listen, not too near you. For oh, no matter how you smile, I fear you, Time. I fear you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Regret and Remorse by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. Regret with streaming eyes doth seem alway a maiden widowed on her wedding day, while dark Remorse, with eyes too sad for tears, a crushed, desponding Magdalene appears, one with a hungering heart unsatisfied, mourns for imagined joys that were denied. The other, pierced by recollected sin, broods o'er the scars of pleasures that have been. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Easter Morn by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. A truth that has long lain buried at superstition's door, I see, in the dawn uprising, in all its strength once more. Hidden away in the darkness, by ignorance crucified, crushed under stones of dogmas, yet lo! it has not died. It stands in the light transfigured, it speaks from the heights above. Each soul is its own Redeemer, there is no law but love. And the spirits of men were gladdened, as they welcomed this truth reborn, with its feet on the grave of error, and its eyes to the Easter morn. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Blind by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Domenica Campbell. Whatever a man may think or feel, he can tell to the world, and it hears aright. But it bids the woman conceal, conceal, and woe to the thoughts that at last ignite. She may serve up gossip, or dwell on fashion, or play the critic with speech unkind, but alas for the woman who speaks with passion! For the world is blind, for the world is blind. It is woman who sits with her starved desire, and drinks to sorrow in cups of tears. She reads by the light of her soul on fire the secrets of love through lonely years. But out of all she has felt or heard or read by the glow of her soul's white flame, if she dare but utter aloud one word, how the world cries shame! How the world cries shame! It cannot distinguish between the glow of a gleaming star in the sky of gold, or a spent cigar in the dust below, 'twixt unclad Eve or a wanton bold. And ever if woman speaks what she feels, and feels consistent with God's great plan, it has cast her under its juggernaut wheels, since the world began, since the world began. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Yellow-Covered Almanac by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I left the farm when Mother died and changed my place of dwelling to daughter Susie's stylish house right on the city street. And there was them before I came that sort of scared me, telling how I would find the townsfolk's ways so difficult to meet. They said I'd have no comfort in the rustling, fixed-up throng, and I'd have to wear stiff collars every weekday right along. I find I'd take to city ways, just like a duck to water. I like the racket and the noise, and never tire of shows. And there's no end of comfort in the mansion of my daughter, and everything is right at hand, and money freely flows, and hired help is all about, just listenin' to my call. But I miss the yellow almanac off my old kitchen wall. The house is full of calendars from attic to the cellar. They're painted in all colors and are fancy-like to see, but in this one particular I'm not a modern feller, and the yellow-colored almanac is good enough for me. I'm used to it. I've seen it round from boyhood to old age, and I rather like the jokin' at the bottom of the cage. I like the way its S stood out to show the week's beginning. In these new-fangled calendars the days seem sort of mixed, and the man upon the cover, though he wa'n't exactly winnin', with lungs and liver all exposed, still showed how we are fixed. And the letters and credentials that was writ to Mr. Ayer, I've often on a rainy day found readin' pretty fair. I tried to buy one recently. There wa'n't none in the city. They toted out great calendars in every shape and style. I looked at 'em in cold disdain, and answered 'em in pity. I'd rather have my almanac than all that costly pile. And though I take to city life, I'm lonesome, after all, for that old yellow almanac upon my kitchen wall. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Little White Hearse by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Somebody's baby was buried today. The empty white hearse from the grave rumbled back, and the morning somehow seemed less smiling and gay, as I paused on the walk while it crossed on its way, and a shadow seemed drawn o'er the sun's golden tract. Somebody's baby was laid out to rest, white as a snowdrop and fair to behold, and the soft little hands were crossed over the breast, and those hands and the lips and the eyelids were pressed with kisses as hot as the eyelids were cold. Somebody saw it go out of her sight, under the coffin lid, out through the door. Somebody finds only darkness and blight, all through the glory of summer sun light. Somebody's baby will waken no more. Somebody's sorrow is making me weep. I know not her name, but I echo her cry, for the dearly bought baby she longed so to keep. The baby that rode to its long-lasting sleep in the little white hearse that went rumbling by. I know not her name, but her sorrow I know. While I paused on the crossing, I lived it once more, and back to my heart surged that river of woe, that but in the breast of a mother can flow. For the little white hearse has been, too, at my door. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Realisation at the Old Homestead by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I tread the paths of earlier times, where all my steps were set to rhymes. I gaze on scenes I used to see when dreaming of a vague to be. I walk in ways made bright of old by hopes youth-limbed in hues of gold. But lo, those hopes of future bliss seem dull beside the joy that is. My noonday skies are far more bright than those dreamed of in morning's light, and life gives me more joys to hold than all it promised me of old. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Success by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. As we gaze up life's slope, as we gaze in the morn, ere the dewdrops are dry, what splendor hangs over the ways, what glory gleams there in the sky, what pleasures seem waiting us high on the peak of the beauteous slope, what rainbow-hued colors of hope. As we gaze, as we climb up the hill, as we climb, our hearts, our illusions are rent, for Fate, who is spouse of old Time, is jealous of youth and content. With brows that are brooding and bent, she shadows our sunlight of gold, and the way grows lonely and cold as we climb. As we toil on through trouble and pain, there are hands that will shelter and feed. But once let us dare to attain, they will bruise our bare hearts till they bleed. 'Tis the worst of all crimes to succeed. Know this as ye feast on a crust, know this in the darkness and dust, ye who climb. As we stand on the heights of success, lo, success seems as sad as defeat. Through the lives we may succor and bless, alone may its litter turn sweet. And the world lying there at our feet, with its cavilling praise and its sneer, we must pity, condone, but not here, where we stand. As we live on those heights, we must live with the courage and pride of a god. For the world, it has nothing to give but the scourge of the lash and the rod. Our thoughts must be noble and broad, our purpose must challenge men's gaze, while we seek not their blame or their praise. As we live. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Lady and the Dame by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. So thou hast the art, good dame, thou swearest, to keep time's perishing touch at bay, from the roseate splendor of the cheek so tender, and the silver threads from the gold away. And the telltale years that have hurried by us shall tiptoe back, and with kind good will they shall take the traces from off our faces, if we will trust to thy magic skill. Thou speakest fairly, but if I listen and buy thy secret and prove its truth, hast thou the potion and magic lotion to give me also the heart of youth, with the cheek of rose and the eye of beauty and the lustrous looks of life's lost prime? Wilt thou bring thronging each hope and longing that made the glory of that dead time? When the sap in the trees sets young buds bursting, and the song of the birds fills the air like spray, will rivers of feeling come once more stealing from the beautiful hills of the far away? Wilt thou demolish the tower of reason, and fling forever down into the dust the caution time brought me, the lessons life taught me, and put in their places my old sweet trust? If time's footprint from my brow is driven, canst thou too take with thy subtle powers the burden of thinking, and let me go drinking the careless pleasures of youth's bright hours? If silver threads from my tresses vanish, if a glow once more in my pale cheek gleams, wilt thou slay duty and give back the beauty of days untroubled by aught but dreams? When the soft fair arms of the siren summer encircle the earth in their languorous fold, will vast deep oceans of sweet emotions surge through my veins as they surged of old? Canst thou bring back from a day long vanished the leaping pulse and the boundless aim? I will pay thee double for all thy trouble, if thou wilt restore all these, good dame. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Heaven and Hell by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruskachuk. While forced to dwell apart from thy dear face, Love, robed like sorrow, led me by the hand, and taught my doubting heart to understand that which has puzzled all the human race. Full many a sage has questioned where in space those counter worlds were, where the mystic strand that separates them. I have found each land, and hell is vast, and heaven a narrow space. In the small compass of thy clasping arms, in reach and sight of thy dear lips and eyes, there for me the joy of heaven lies. Outside, lo, chaos, terrors, wild alarms, and all the desolation, fierce and fell, of void and aching nothingness, makes hell. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love's Supremacy by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. As yon great sun in his supreme condition absorbs small worlds and makes them all his own, so does my love absorb each vain ambition, each outside purpose which my life has known. Stars cannot shine so near that vast orbed splendor. They are content to feed his flames of fire, and so my heart is satisfied to render its strength, its all, to meet thy strong desire. As in a forest when dead leaves are falling from all save some perennial green tree, so one by one I find all pleasures palling that are not linked with or enjoyed by thee. And all the homage that the world may proffer I take as perfumed oils or incense sweet, and think of it as one thing more to offer and sacrifice to love at thy dear feet. I love myself because thou art my lover. My name seems dear since uttered by thy voice. Yet Argus-eyed I watch and would discover each blemish in the object of thy choice. I coldly sit in judgment on each error. To my soul's gaze I hold each fault of me, until my pride is lost in abject terror lest I become inadequate to thee. Like some swift rushing and sea-seeking river, which gathers force the farther on it goes, so does the current of my love forever find added strength and beauty as it flows. The more I give, the more remains for giving. The more receive, the more remains to win. Ah, only in eternities of living will life be long enough to love thee in. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Eternal Will by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. There is no thing we cannot overcome. Say not thy evil instinct is inherited, or that some trait inborn makes thy whole life forlorn, and calls down punishment that is not merited. Back of thy parents and grandparents lies the great eternal will. That, too, is thine inheritance, strong, beautiful, divine, sure lever of success for one who tries. Pry up thy faults with this great lever will. However deeply bedded in propensity, however firmly set, I tell thee firmer yet is that vast power that comes from truth's immensity. Thou art a part of that strange world, I say. Its forces lie within thee, stronger far than all thy mortal sins and frailties are. believe thyself divine, and watch and pray. There is no noble height thou canst not climb. All triumphs may be thine in time's futurity, if whatsoe'er thy fault, thou dost not faint or halt, but lean upon the staff of God's security. Earth has no claim the soul cannot contest. Know thyself part of that eternal source, and naught can stand before thy spirit's force. The soul's divine inheritance is best. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Insight by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Diana Schmidt. On the river of life as I float along, I see with the spirit's sight that many a nauseous weed of wrong has root in a seed of right. For evil is good that has gone astray, and sorrow is only blindness, and the world is always under the sway of a changeless law of kindness. The commonest error a truth can make is shouting its sweet voice hoarse, and sin is only the soul's mistake in misdirecting its force. And love, the fairest of all fair things that ever to man descended, grows rank with nettles and poisonous things unless it is watched and tended. There could not be anything better than this old world in the way it began, and though some matters have gone amiss from the great original plan, and however dark the skies may appear, and however souls may blunder, I tell you, it all will work out clear, for good lies over and under. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Woman's Love by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in August 2015. So vast the tide of love within me surging, it overflows like some stupendous sea the confines of the present and to be, and against the past's high wall I feel it urging as it would cry, "Thou too shalt yield to me." All other loves my supreme love embodies. I would be she on whose soft bosom nursed thy clinging infant lips to quench their thirst. She who trod close to hidden worlds where God is, that she might have and hold and see thee first. I would be she who stirred the vague fond fancies of thy still childish heart, who through bright days went sporting with thee in the old-time plays, and caught the sunlight of thy boyish glances in half-forgotten and long-buried maze. Forth to the end and back to the beginning, my love would send its inundating tide, wherein all landmarks of thy past should hide. If thy life's lesson must be learned through sinning, my grieving virtue would become thy guide. For I would share the burden of thy errors, so when the sun of our brief life has set, if thou didst walk in darkness and regret, even in that shadowy world of nameless terrors, my soul and thine should be companions yet. And I would cross with thee those troubled oceans of dark remorse whose waters are despair. All things my jealous, reckless love would dare, so that thou mightst not recollect emotions in which it did not have a part and share. There is no limit to my love's full measure. Its spirit gold is shaped by earth's alloy. I would be friend and mother, mate and toy. I'd have thee look to me for every pleasure, and in me find all memories of joy. Yet though I love thee in such selfish fashion, I would wait on thee, sitting at thy feet, and serving thee if thou didst deem it meet. And couldst thou give me one fond hour of passion, I'd take that hour and call my life complete. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Paean of Peace by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in August 2015. With ever some wrong to be righting, with self ever seeking for place, the world has been striving and fighting since man was evolved out of space. Bold history into dark regions his torchlight has fearlessly cast. He shows us tribes warring in legions in jungles of ages long past. Religion, forgetting her station, forgetting her birthright from God, set nation to warring with nation and scattered dissension abroad. Dear creeds have made men kill each other, fair faith has bred hate and despair, and brother has battled with brother because of a difference in prayer. But earth has grown wiser and kinder, for man is evolving a soul. From wars of an age that was blinder, we rise to a peace-girdled goal. Where once men would murder in treason and slaughter each other in hordes, they now meet together and reason with thoughts for their weapons, not swords. The brute in humanity dwindles and lessens as time speeds along, and the spark of divinity kindles and blazes up brightly and strong. The seer can behold in the distance the race that shall people the world, strong men of a godlike existence, unarmed and with war banners furled. No longer the bloodthirsty savage man's vast spirit strength shall unfold, and tales of red warfare and ravage shall seem like ghost stories of old. For the booming of guns and the rattle of carnage and conflict shall cease, and the bugle call leading to battle shall change to a paean of peace. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Has Been by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. That melancholy phrase, "it might have been," however sad, doth in its heart enfold a hidden germ of promise. For I hold whatever might have been shall be, though in some other realm and life the soul must win the goal that erst was possible. But cold and cruel as the sound of frozen mold dropped on a coffin are the words, "has been." She has been beautiful. He has been great. Rome has been powerful. We sigh and say, it is the pitying crust we toss decay, the dirge we breathe o'er some degenerate state, an epitaph for fame's unburied dead. God pity those who lived to hear it said. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Duty's Path by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. Out from the harbor of youth's bay there leads the path of pleasure. With eager steps we walk that way to brim joy's largest measure. But when with morn's departing beam goes youth's last precious minute, we sigh, 'twas but a fevered dream, there's nothing in it. Then on our vision dawns afar the goal of glory, gleaming like some great radiant solar star, and sets us longing, dreaming. Forgetting all things left behind, we strain each nerve to win it. But when 'tis ours, alas, we find there's nothing in it. We turn our sad, reluctant gaze upon the path of duty. Its barren, uninviting ways are void of bloom and beauty. Yet in that road, though dark and cold it seems as we begin it, as we press on, lo, we behold, there's heaven in it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
March by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Like some reformer who with mien austere, neglected dress, and loud insistent tones, more rasping than the wrongs which she bemoans, walks through the land, and wearies all who hear, while yet we know the need of such reform. So comes unlovely March with wind and storm to break the spell of winter and set free the poisoned brooks and crocus beds oppressed. Severe of face, gaunt armed, and wildly dressed, she is not fair nor beautiful to see. But merry April and sweet smiling May come not till March has first prepared the way. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The End of Summer by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Lynn Mosquera, August 9th, 2015. Chesterfield, Virginia. Home studio. Visit soundcloud.com/Lynn-Mosquera. The birds laugh loud and long together when fashion's followers speed away. At the first cool breath of autumn weather, why, this is the time, cry the birds, to stay. When the deep calm sea and the deep sky over both look their passion through sun-kissed space, as a blue-eyed maid and her blue-eyed lover might each gaze into the other's face. Oh, this is the time when careful spying discovers the secrets natures know. Oh, this is the time where careful spying discovers the secrets nature knows. You find when the butterflies plan for flying before the thrush or the blackbird goes. You see some day by the water's edges a brilliant border of red and black, and then off over the hills and hedges it flutters away on the summer's track. The shy little sumacs in lonely places, bowed all summer with dust and heat, like clean-clad children with rain-washed faces, are dressed in scarlet from head to feet. And never a flower had the boastful summer, and all the blossoms that decked her sod, so royal-hued as the latter comer, the purple chum of the golden-rod. Some chill gray dawn you note with grieving that the king of autumn is on his way. You see with a sorrowful, slow believing how the wanton woods have gone astray. They wear the stain of bold caresses, of riotous revels with old King Frost. They dazzle all eyes with their gorgeous dresses, nor care that their green young leaves are lost. A wet wind blows from the east one morning. The wood's gay garments look draggled out. You hear a sound, and your heart takes warning. The birds are planning their winter route. They wheel and settle, and scold and wrangle. Their tempers are ruffled, their voices loud. They whir and away in a feathered tangle, to fade in the south like a passing cloud. End of poem. This recording is on the public domain.
Sun Shadows by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. There never was success so nobly gained, or victory so free from selfish dross, but in the winning someone had been pained, or someone suffered loss. There never was so nobly planned a fate, or festal throng with hearts on pleasure bent, but some neglected one outside the gate wept tears of discontent. There never was a bridal morning fair, with hope's blue skies and love's unclouded sun, for two fond hearts, that did not bring despair to some sad other one. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
That Looketh by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org. By Lynn Mosquera, August 9th, 2015, in Chesterfield, Virginia Home Studios. Visit soundcloud.com/Lynn-Mosquera. Yea, she and I have broken God's command, and in his sight are branded without shame. And yet I do not even know her name. Not even in my life have touched her hand or brushed her garments. But I chance to stand beside her in the throng, a sweet, swift flame shot from her flesh to mine, and hers to blame, of willing looks that fed it, that fanned the glow within me to hunger a fire. There was an invitation in her eyes. Has she met mine with coldness or surprise? I have not plunged on headlong in the mire of amorous thought. The flame leaped high and higher, her breath and mine pulsating into sighs, and soft glance melted in glance kiss wise, and in God's sight both yielded to desire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Erring Woman's Love by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in August 2015. Part 1. She was a light and wanton maid, not one whom fickle love betrayed, for indolence was her undoer. Fair, frivolous, and very poor, she scorned the thought of toil in youth, and chose the path that leads from truth. More women fall from want of gold than love leads wrong, if truth were told. More women sin for gay attire than sin through passion's blinding fire. Her God was gold, and gold she saw prove mightier than the sternest law with judge and jury, priest and king. So made herself an offering at Mammon's shrine, and lived for power and ease and pleasures of the hour. Who looks beneath life's outer crust is satisfied that God is just. Who looks not under, but about, finds much to make him sad with doubt. For virtue walks with feet worn bare, while sin rides by with coach and pair. Men praise the modest heart and chaste, and yet they let it go to waste, and follow, fierce to have and hold, some creature wanton, selfish, bold. She saw but this, life's outer side. No higher faith was hers to guide. She worshipped gold and hated toil, and hence her youth with all its soil, with all its sins too dark to name, of secret crimes and public shame, with all its trail of broken lives, of ruined homes, neglected wives, and weeping mothers. Proud and gay she went her devastating way, with untouched brow and fadeless grace. Not time, but feeling marks the face. Sin on the outer being tells not till the startled soul rebels, and she felt nothing but content. She was too light and indolent to worry over days to come. This little earth held all life's sum, she thought, and to be young and fair, well clothed, well fed, was all her care. With pitying eyes and lifted head she gazed on those who toiled for bread, and laughed to scorn the talk she heard of punishment for those who erred, and virtue's certain recompense. She seemed devoid of moral sense, an ignorant thing, whose appetites bound her horizon of delights. Men were her puppets to control. Unconscious of a heart or soul, she lived and gloried in the ease she purchased by her power to please the eye and senses. Life's one woe, which caused her pitying tears to flow, was poverty. Though hearts might break and homes be ruined for her sake, she showed no mercy. But when need of gold she saw, her heart would bleed. The lack of clothing, fire, and food was earth's one pain she understood. The suffering poor oft blessed her name, nor questioned whence the ducats came she gave so freely. Once she found a fainting woman on the ground, a wailing child clasped to her breast. With her own hands she bathed and dressed the weary waifs, gave food and gold, and clothed them warmly from the cold, nor guessed that one she lured from home had caused that suffering pair to roam unhoused, neglected. Then one day, unheralded across her way, the conqueror came. She knew not why, but with the first glance of his eye, a feeling new and unexplained woke in her what she oft had feigned. And when his arm stole near her waist, as startled maidens blush with chaste sweet fear at love's advances, so she blushed from brow to breast of snow. Strange new emotions, fraught with joy and pain commingled, made her coy. But when he would have clasped her neck with gems that might a queen bedeck, and offered gold, her lips grew white with sudden anger at the sight of what had been her god for years. She flung them from her. Then such tears as only spring from love's despair welled from her eyes. "So, lady fair, my gifts are scorned," quoth he, and laughed. "Like Cleopatra, you have quaffed such lordly pearls in draughts of wine, you spurn poor simple gems like mine. Well, well, fair queen, I'll bring to you a richer gift next time. Adieu." His light words stung like lash of whip. With gasping breath and ashen lip she strove to speak, but he was gone. She kneeled and pressed her mouth upon the latch his hand had touched, the floor his foot had trod, and o'er she sobbed his name, as children moan a mother's name when left alone. Out from the dim and roseate gloom and subtle odors of her room, accusing memories rose. She felt a loneliness that seemed to belt the universe in its embrace. It was as if from some high place a giant hand had reached and hurled to nothingness her petty world, and left her staring, awed, up into regions vast, unknown. There is no other loneliness that can so sadden and oppress as when beside the burned-out fire of a sated passion and desire the wakening spirit, in a glance, beholds its lost inheritance. She rose and turned the dim lights higher, brought forth rich gems and grand attire, and robed herself in feverish haste, before the mirror posed and paced, with jewels on her breast and wrists, then sudden clenched her little fists, and beat her face until it bled, and tore her garments shred from shred, gazed in the mirror, spoke her name, and hissed a word that told her shame. Then on her knees fell sobbing there. There are sweet messengers of prayer who down through space on soft wings steal, and offer aid to all who kneel. Her lips, unused to pious phrase, recalled some words of bygone days, and "Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep," she whispered timidly, and then, "Lord, let me be a child again, and grow up good." The strange prayer said, like some o'er-weary child, her head she pillowed on her arm, and wept low shuddering sobs until she slept and dreamed. And in that dream she thought she sat within a vine-wreathed cot. An infant slumbered on her breast. She crooned a lullaby, and pressed its waxen hand against her cheek, while one, too proud and fond to speak, the happy father of the child, stood near, and gazing on them, smiled. She woke while still the lullaby was on her lips. Then such a cry as souls in fabled realms below might utter voiced her awful woe. The mighty moral labor pain of newborn conscience racked her brain and tore her soul. She understood the meaning now of womanhood and chastity, and o'er her came the full dark sense of all her shame. As some poor drunken wretch at night wakes up to know his piteous plight, and sees, while sinking in the mire, afar his waiting hearth-light's fire, so now she saw from depths of sin the hearth-light of the might-have-been. How beautiful, how like a star that lost light shone, but ah, how far! She reached her longing arms toward space and lifted up her tear-wet face. "Oh God!" she wailed, "I have been bad. I see it all, and I am sad, and long to be a good girl now. Lord, Lord, will someone show me how? Why, men have trod the burning track of sin for years, and then gone back. And cannot I for sin atone, or did Christ die for men alone? I want to lead an honest life. I want to be his own true wife, and hold upon my breast his child." Then suddenly her voice grew wild. "No, no," she cried, "it could not be. Those infant eyes would torture me. Though God condoned my sinful ways, I could not meet my child's pure gaze." She hid her face upon her knees, and swayed as reeds sway in a breeze. "Oh Christ!" she moaned, "could I forget, there might be something for me yet. But though both God and man forgave, and I should win the love I crave, why, memory would drive me mad." When woman drifts from good to bad, to make her final fall complete, she puts her soul beneath her feet. Man's dual selves seem separate. He leaves his soul outside sin's gate, and finds it waiting when he tires of carnal pleasures and desires, depleted, sickened, and depressed as souls must be with such a test, yet strong enough to help him grope back into happiness and hope. But woman, far more complicate, can take no chances with her fate. A subtle creature, finely spun, her body and her soul are one. And now this erring woman wept the soul she murdered while it slept. She felt too stunned with pain to think. She seemed to stand upon a brink. Behind her loomed the sinful past, below her rocks, beyond her vast and awful darkness, not one ray of sun or star to show the way. She drew a long and shuddered breath. "There is no other path but death for me to tread," she sighed, "and so I will prepare my house and go." As housewives move with willing feet and skillful hands to make things neat and ready for some welcome one, she toiled until her tasks were done. Then, seated at her desk, she wrote with painful care a tear-wet note. The childish penmanship was rude, ill-spelled the words, the phrasing crude, yet thought and feeling both were there, and mighty love and great despair. "Dear heart," it ran, "you do not know how from the first I loved you so, that sin grew hateful in my sight, and so I leave it all to-night. The kiss I gave, dear heart, to you was love's first kiss, as pure and true as ever lips of maiden gave. I think 'twill warm my lonely grave, and light the pathway I must tread among the hapless, homeless dead. When God formed worlds, he failed to make a path for erring feet to take back into light and peace again, unless they were the feet of men. When woman errs and then regrets, her sun of hope forever sets, and life is hung with deepest gloom. In all the world there is no room for such as she, and so I hold that death itself is not so cold as life has seemed, since by love's light I saw there was a wrong and right, and that my birthright had been sold by my own hands for tarnished gold. I hated labor, hence I fell. But now I love you, dear, so well, no greater boon my soul could crave than just to toil, a galley slave, through burdened years and years of life, if at the last you called me wife for one supreme and honored hour. Alas, too late I learn love's power. Too late I realize my loss, and have no strength to bear my cross of loneliness and dark disgrace. There cannot be another place so desolate, so full of fear, as earth to me without you, dear. You will not understand, I know, how one like me can love you so. It was a strange, strange thing. Love came so like a swift devouring flame, and burned my frail fair-weather boat, and left me on the waves afloat, with nothing but a broken spar. The distant shores seem very far, I cannot reach them, so I sink. God will forgive my sins, I think, because I die for love, like one the good book tells about, his son. For erring woman, death can bring no pain so keen as memory's sting. Good night. Good-bye. God bless you, dear, and give you love and joy and cheer. But sometimes in the dark night say a prayer for one who went astray and found no pathway back, and died for love of you, a suicide. When morn his glorious pinions spread, they found the erring woman dead. Part 2. She woke as one wakes from a deep and dreamless yet exhausting sleep. A strange confusion filled her mind, and sorrows vague and undefined, like half-remembered faces pressed to memory's window in her breast, gazed at her with reproachful eyes. She felt a sudden dazed surprise, commingled with a sense of dread. I did but sleep. I am not dead. The potion and the purpose failed, and I still live, she wildly wailed. Nay, thou art dead, rash suicide, a sad voice spake, and at her side she saw a weird and shadowy crowd, with anguished lips and shoulders bowed, and orbs that seemed the wells of woe. She shrieked and veiled her eyes. No, no, I am not dead. I ache with life, and earthly passion's hopeless strife still tortures me. Yet thou art dead, the voice with sad insistence said. But love and sorrow and regret all die with death. I feel them yet. God bade thee live, and only he can say when thou shalt cease to be. But I was sin-sick, sad, alone. I thought by death I could atone, and died that Christ might show me how. Christ bore his burden, why not thou? Oh, lead me to his holy feet, and let my penance be complete. What? Thinkest thou to find that path, thou who hast tempted heaven's wrath by thy rash deed? Nay, nay, not so. 'Tis but perfected spirits go to that supreme and final goal. A self-sought death delays the soul. With yonder shuddering, woeful throng of suicides thy ways belong. Close to the earth, a shadowy band unseen, but seeing all, they stand until their natural time to die, as God intended, shall draw nigh. On earth, repentant, sick of sin, a ministering angel thou hadst been, whose patient toil and deeds divine had rescued souls as sad as thine. Each deed a firm ascending stair to lead beyond thy great despair. But now it is thy mournful fate to linger here, and meditate on thy dark past, to stand so near the earthly plane that thou canst hear thy lover's voice, while old desire shall burn within thee like a fire, and grief shall root thee to the spot, to find how soon thou art forgot. But since thou hast endured the woes that only fragile woman knows, and loved as only woman can, thou shalt not suffer all that man must suffer when he interferes with God's great law. In death's dim spheres that justice waits which men refuse. Thy sex shall in some part excuse thy desperate deed. When God shall send a second death to be thy friend, thou needst not fear a darker fate. Go forth with yonder throng, and wait. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song of Republics by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. Fair Freedom's ship, too long adrift, of every wind the sport, now rigged and manned, her course well planned, sails proudly out of port. And fluttering gaily from the mast, this motto is unfurled. Let all men heed its truth who read. Republics rule the world. The universe is high as God. Good is the final goal. The world revolves, and man evolves a purpose and a soul. No church can bind, no crown forbid thought's mighty upward course. Let kings give way before its sway, for God inspires its force. The hero of a vanished age was one who bathed in gore. Who best could fight was noblest knight in savage days of yore. Now warrior chiefs are out of date, the times have changed. Today we call men great who arbitrate and keep war's hounds at bay. The world no longer looks to priest or prince to know its needs. Earth's human throng has grown too strong to rule with courts and creeds. We want no kings, but kings of toil, no crowns, but crowns of deeds. Not royal birth, but sterling worth, must mark the man who leads. Proud monarchies are out of step with modern thought today, for brotherhood is understood, and thrones may pass away. Men dare to think. Concerted thought contains more power than swords. The force that binds united minds defeats mere savage hordes. Man needs no arbitrary hand to keep him in control. He feels the power grow hour by hour of his expanding soul. In God's stupendous scheme of worlds he knows he has a place. He is no slave to cringe and crave some worthless monarch's grace. As ocean billows undermine the haughty shores each hour, Time's sea has brought its waves of thought to crumble thrones of power. And one by one shall kingdoms fall like leaves before the blast, as man with man combines to plan, republics form to last. Columbia balked a tyrant king and built upon a rock, in freedom's name, a shrine whose fame outlived the centuries' shock. Now France within our port has set her symbol of rebirth. Her lifted hand tells sea and land, republics light the earth. One mighty church for all the world would make men far more kind. One government would bring content to many a restless mind. Sail on, fair ship of freedom, sail the wide sea's breadth and length, till worlds unite to make the might of one republic's strength. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Memorial Day, 1892, by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Diana Schmidt. The quiet graves of our country's braves, through 30 Junes and Decembers, have solemnly lain under sun and rain, and yet the nation remembers. The marching of feet and the flags on the street told once again this morning, in the voice of the drum, how the day had come for those lowly beds adorning. Then swiftly back on time's worn track his 3 decades seemed driven, and with startled eyes I saw arise from graves by fancy riven. The gray and blue in a grand review, oh vast were the hosts they numbered, as they wheeled and swayed in a dress parade o'er the graves where they long had slumbered. The colors were not, as when they fought, ranked one against the other, but a mingled hue of gray and blue, as brother marching with brother. And a blue flower lay on each coat of gray, like forget-me-nots on a boulder, and the gray moss lace, in its southern grace, was knotted on each blue shoulder. The vision fled, but I think our dead, if they could come back with the living, would clasp warm hands o'er hostile lands, forgetting old wrongs and forgiving. 'Mong the blossoms of spring that you gather and bring to graves that though lowly are royal, let the blue flower prevail, though modest and pale, since it speaks of the hue that was loyal. But tie each bouquet with a ribbon of gray, and lay it on memory's altar, for the dead who fought for the cause they thought was right and who did not falter. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When Baby Souls Sail Out by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. When from our mortal vision grown men and women go to sail strange fields Elysian and know what spirits know, I think of them as tourists in some sun-gilded clime. 'Mong happy sights and dear delights we all shall find in time. But when a child goes yonder and leaves its mother here, its little feet must wander, it seems to me, in fear. What paths of Eden beauty, what scenes of peace and rest can bring content to one who went forth from a mother's breast? In palace gardens lonely a little child will roam and weep for pleasures only found in its humble home. It is not won by splendor nor bought by costly toys. To hide from harm on mother's arm makes all its sum of joys. It must be when the baby goes journeying off alone, some angel, Mary maybe, adopts it for her own. Yet when a child is taken whose mother stays below, with weeping eyes through paradise I seem to see it go. With troops of angels trying to drive away its fear, I seem to hear it crying, I want my mamma here. I do not court the fancy, it is not based on doubt. It is a thought that comes unsought when baby souls sail out. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To Another Woman's Baby by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. I list your prattle, baby boy, and hear your pattering feet, with feelings more of pain than joy, and thoughts of bittersweet. While touching your soft hands in play, such passionate longings rise for my wee boy who strayed away so soon to paradise. You win me with your infant art, but when our play is o'er, the empty cradle in my heart seems lonelier than before. Sweet baby boy, you do not guess how oft mine eyes are dim, or that my lingering caress is sometimes meant for him. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Diamonds by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. The tears of fallen women turned to ice by man's cold pity for repentant vice. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Rubies by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen Moore. The crimson life drops from a virgin heart, pierced to the core by Cupid's fatal dart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sapphires by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Jude. Lost rays of light that wandered off alone, and down to space were hurled from that great sapphire sun, beyond our own pale, puny little world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Turquoise by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathleen Moore. A baby went to heaven while it slept, and, waking, missed its mother's arms, and wept. Those angel teardrops falling earthward through God's azure skies, into the turquoise grew. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Reform by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bundy98. The time has come when men with hearts and brains must rise and take the misdirected reins of government, too long left in the hands of aliens and of lackeys. He who stands and sees the mighty vehicle of state hauled through the mire to some ignoble fate, and makes not such bold protest as he can, is no American. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Minor Chord by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. I heard a strain of music in the street, a wandering waif of sound, and then straightway a nameless desolation filled the day. The great green earth that had been fair and sweet seemed but a tomb. The life I thought replete with joy grew lonely for a vanished May. Forgotten sorrows resurrected lay like bleaching skeletons about my feet. Above me stretched the silent suffering sky, dumb with vast anguish for departed suns that brutal time to nothingness has hurled. The daylight was as sad as smiles that lie upon the wistful, unkissed mouths of nuns, and I stood prisoned in an awful world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Death's Protest by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. Why dost thou shrink from my approach, O man? Why dost thou ever flee in fear, and cling to my false rival, life? I do but bring thee rest and calm. Then wherefore dost thou ban and curse me? Since the forming of God's plan, I have not hurt or harmed a mortal thing. I have bestowed sweet balm for every sting, and peace eternal for earth's stormy span. The wild mad prayers for comfort, sent in vain to knock at the indifferent heart of life, I, Death, have answered. Knowest thou not 'tis he, my cruel rival, who sends all thy pain, and wears the soul out in unending strife. Why dost thou hold to him then, spurning me? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. September by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. My life's long radiant summer halts at last, and lo, beside my pathway I behold pursuing autumn glide. Nor frost nor cold has heralded her presence, but a vast sweet calm that comes not till the year has passed its fevered solstice, and a tinge of gold subdues the vivid colouring of bold and passion-hued emotions. I will cast my August days behind me with my May, nor strive to drag them into autumn's place, nor swear, I hope, when I do but remember. Now violet and rose have had their day, I'll pluck the soberer asters with good grace, and call September nothing but September. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Wail of an Old Timer by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Tina Renee D'Souza. Each new invention doubles our worries and our troubles. These scientific fellows are spoiling of our land. With motor, wire, and cable, nowadays we're scarcely able to walk or ride in peace of mind, and 'tisn't safe to stand. Fairly makes me crazy to see how tarnal lazy the rising generation grows, and science is to blame. With telephones for talking and messengers for walking, our young men sit and loaf and smoke without a blush of shame. And then they weren't contented until someone invented a sort of jerky tape line clock to help on wasteful ways. And that infernal ticker spends money for 'em quicker than any neighborhood of men in good old bygone days. The rising generation is spent so on creation, folks haven't time to talk or sing or cry or even laugh. But if you take the notion to want some such emotion, they've got it all on tap for you right in the phonograph. But now a crazy creature has introduced the feature of artificial weather. I think we're nearly through. For when we once go strainin' to keep it dry or rainin' to suit the general public, 'twill bust the world in two. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Was, Is, and Yet to Be by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, sung for LibriVox.org by Iswa in Belgium in July 2015. Was, is, and yet to be were chatting over a cup of tea. In tarnished finery smelling of must was talked of people long turned to dust, of titles and honours and high estate, all forgotten or out of date, of wonderful feasts in the long ago, of pride that perished with nothing to show. I loathe the present, said Was with a groan. I live in pleasures that I have known. The yet to be in a gown of gauze looked over the head of musty Was, and gazed far off into misty space with a rapt expression upon her face. Such wonderful pleasures are coming to me, such glory, such honor, said yet to be. No one dreamed in the vast has been of such successes as I shall win. The past, the present, why what are they? I live for the joy of a future day. Then practical is in a fresh print dress spoke up with a laugh. I must confess I find today so pleasant, she said. I never look back and seldom ahead. Whatever has been is a finished sum. Whatever will be, why let it come? Today is mine, and so you see I have the past and the yet to be, for today is the future of yesterday and the past of tomorrow. I live while I may, and I think the secret of pleasure is this, and this alone, said Practicalise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mistakes by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. God sent us here to make mistakes, to strive, to fail, to re-begin, to taste the tempting fruit of sin, and find what bitter food it makes, to miss the path, to go astray, to wander blindly in the night, but searching, praying for the light, until at last we find the way. And looking back along the past, we know we needed all the strain of fear and doubt and strife and pain to make us value peace at last. Who fails finds later triumph sweet. Who stumbles once walks then with care, and knows the place to cry beware to other unaccustomed feet. Through strife the slumbering soul awakes. We learn on error's troubled route the truths we could not prize without the sorrow of our sad mistakes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Duel by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. You say that your nature is double, that life seems more and more intricate, complex, and dual, because in your bosom there wages the strife, twixt an angel of light and a beast that is cruel, an angel who whispers your spirit has wings, and a beast who would chain you to temporal things. I listen with interest to all you have told. And now let me give you my view of your trouble. You are to be envied, not pitied, I hold. That every strong nature is always made double. The beast has his purpose, he need not be slain, he should serve the good angel in harness and chain. The body that never knows carnal desires, the heart that to passion is always a stranger, is merely a furnace with unlighted fires. It sends forth no warmth while it threatens no danger. But who wants to shiver in cold safety there? Touch flame to the fuel? Then watch it with care. Those wild, fierce emotions that trouble your soul are sparks from the great source of passion and power. Throne reason above them and give it control, and turn into blessing this dangerous dower. By lightnings unguided destruction is hurled, but chained and directed they gladden the world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The All-Creative Spark by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in August 2015. Pain can go guised as joy, Dross pass for gold. Vulgarity can masquerade as wit, or spite wear friendship's garments, but I hold that passionate feeling has no counterfeit. Chief jewel from Jove's crown, 'twas sent men, lent for inspiration and for sacrament. Jove never could have made the universe had he not glowed with passion's sacred fire, though men oft turns the blessing to a curse, and burns himself on his own funeral pyre. Though scarred the soul be where its light burns bright, yet where it is not, neither is there might. Yea, it was set in Jove's resplendent crown when he created worlds. That done, why, hence he cast the priceless awful jewel down to be man's punishment and recompense. And that is how he sees and hears our tears, unmoved and calm from the eternal spheres. But sometimes, since he parted with all passion, in trifling mood, to pass the time away, he has created men in that same fashion, and many women, jesting as gods may, who have no souls to be inspired or fired, mere sport of idle gods who have grown tired. And these poor puppets, gazing in the dark at their own shadows, think the world no higher. And when they see the all-creative spark in other souls, they straightway cry out, "Fire!" and shriek and rave till their descent is spent, while listening gods laugh loud in merriment. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Be Not Content by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. Be not content. Contentment means inaction. The growing soul aches on its upward quest. Satiety is twin to satisfaction. All great achievements spring from life's unrest. The tiny roots, deep in the dark mold hiding, would never bless the earth with leaf and flower, were not an inborn restlessness abiding in seed and germ to stir them with its power. Were man contented with his lot forever, he had not sought strange seas with sails unfurled, and the vast wonder of our shores had never dawned on the gaze of an admiring world. Prize what is yours, but be not quite contented. There is healthful restlessness of soul, by which a mighty purpose is augmented, in urging men to reach a higher goal. So when the restless impulse rises, driving, your calm content before it, do not grieve. It is the upward reaching of the Spirit, of the God in you to achieve. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Action by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. Forever stars are winging their swift and endless race. Forever suns are swinging their mighty globes through space. Since by his law required to join God's spheres inspired, the earth has never tired, but whirled and whirled and whirled. Forever streams are flowing, forever seeds are growing, alway is nature showing that action rules the world. And since by God requested to be, the glorious light has never paused or rested, but traveled day and night, yet pygmy man, unseeing the purpose of his being, demands escape and freeing from universal force. But law is law forever, and like a mighty lever, it thrusts him toward endeavor, and speeds him on his course. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two Roses by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Greg Giordano. Newport Richey, Florida. A humble wild rose pink and slender, was plucked and placed in a bright bouquet, beside a Jacqueminot's royal splendor, and both in my lady's boudoir lay. Said the haughty bud, in a tone of scorning, I wonder why you are called a rose. Your leaves will fade in a single morning, no blood of mine in your pale cheek glows. Your coarse green stalk shows dust of the highway, you have no depths of fragrant bloom, and what could you learn in a rustic byway, to fit you to lie in my lady's room? If called to adorn her warm white bosom, what have you to offer for such a place, beside my fragrant and splendid blossom, ripe with color and rich with grace? Said the sweet wild rose, despite your dower of finer breeding and deeper hue, despite your beauty, fair, high-bred flower, it is I who should lie on her breast, not you. For small account is your hothouse glory, beside the knowledge that came to me, when I heard by the wayside love's old story, and felt the kiss of the amorous bee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Satiety by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. To yearn for what we have not had, to sit with hungry eyes glued on the future's gate, why, that is heaven compared to having it, with all the power gone to appreciate. Better to wait and yearn, and still to wait, and die at last with unappeased desire, than live to be the jest of such a fate, for that is my conception of hellfire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Solar Eclipse by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. In that great journey of the stars through space, about the mighty, all-directing sun, the pallid, faithful moon has been the one companion of the earth. Her tender face, pale with the swift, keen purpose of that race, which at Time's natal hour was first begun, shines ever on her lover as they run, and lights his orbit with her silvery smile. Sometimes such passionate love doth in her eyes, down from her beaten path she softly slips, and with her mantle veils the sun's bold eyes, then in the gloaming finds her lover's lips, while far and near the men our world call wise see only that the sun is in eclipse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Suggestion by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. To CAD. Let the wild red rose bloom, though not to thee so delicately perfect as the white and unwed lily drooping in the light, though she has known the kisses of the bee, and tells her amorous tale to passers-by in perfumed whispers and with untaught grace. Still let the red rose bloom in her own place. She could not be the lily, should she try. Why to the wondrous nightingale cry hush, or bid her cease her wild heart-breaking lay, and tune her voice to imitate the way the whippoorwill makes music, or the thrush? All airs of sorrow to one theme belong, and passion is not copyrighted yet. Each heart writes its own music. Why not let the nightingale, unchided, sing her song? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Depths by Ella Willa Wilcox, read for LibriVox.org by Lynn Mosquera, August 9th, 2015. In Chesterfield, Virginia home studios. Visit soundcloud.com/Lynn-Mosquera. Not only sun-kissed heights are fair, below the cold, dark billows of the frowning deep, do lovely blossoms of the ocean sleep. Rock gently by the waters to and fro. The coral beds with magic colors glow, and priceless pearl-encrusted mollusks heap the glittering rocks where shining atoms leap, like living broken rainbows. Even so, we find the sea of sorrow, black as night. The sullen surface meets our frightened gaze, as down we sink to darkness and despair. But at the depths, such beauty, such delight, such flowers as never grew in pleasure's ways. Ah, not alone are sun-kissed summits fair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Life's Opera by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Sky Albatross. Like an opera house is the world, I ween, where the passionate lover of music is seen, in the balcony near the roof, while the very best seat in the first stage box is filled by the person who laughs and talks through the harmony's warp and woof. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Salt Sea Wind by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Jude. When Venus, mother and maker of blisses, rose out of the billows, large-limbed and fair, she stood on the sands and blew sweet kisses to the salt sea wind as she dried her hair. And the salt sea wind was the first to caress her, to praise her beauty and call her sweet, the first of the whole wide world to possess her, she, that creature of light and heat. Though the sea is old with its sorrows and angers, and the world has forgotten why love was born, yet the salt sea wind is full of the languors that Venus taught her on natal morn. And now whoever dwells there by the ocean, and feels the wind on his hair and face, is stirred by a subtle and keen emotion, the lingering spell of that first embrace. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
New Year by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Ezwa in Belgium in July 2015. New Year, I look straight in your eyes. Our ways and our interests blend. You may be a foe in disguise, but I shall believe you a friend. We get what we give in our measure. We cannot give pain and get pleasure. I give you goodwill and good cheer, and you must return it, New Year. We get what we give in this life, though often the giver indeed waits long upon doubting and strife ere proving the truth of my creed. But somewhere, some way, and forever, reward is the meed of endeavor, and if I am really worthwhile, New Year, you will give me your smile. You hide in your mystical hand no luck that I cannot control if I trust my own courage and stand on the infinite strength of my soul. Man holds in his brain and his spirit a power that is godlike, or near it, and he who has measured his force can govern events and their course. You come with a crown on your brow, New Year, without blemish or spot, yet you, and not I, sir, must bow. For time is the servant of thought. Whatever you bring me of trouble shall turn into good, and then double, if my spirit looks up without fear to the source that you came from, New Year. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Concentration by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bundy98. The age is too diffusive. Time and force are frittered out and bring no satisfaction. The way seems lost to straight, determined action. Like shooting stars that zigzag from their course, we wander from our orbit's pathway, spoil the role we're fitted for, to fail in 20. Bring empty measures that were shaped for plenty, at last as guerdon for a life of toil. There's lack of greatness in this generation, because no more man centers on one thought. We know this truth, and yet we heed it not. The secret of success is concentration. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Thoughts by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Thoughts do not need the wings of words to fly to any goal. Like subtle lightnings, not like birds, they speed from soul to soul. Hide in your heart a bitter thought, still it has power to blight. Think love, although you speak it not, it gives the world more light. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Luck by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Luck is the turning of our inmost thought to chord with God's great plan. That done, I know, thy silent wishes to results shall grow, and day by day shall miracles be wrought. Once let thy being selflessly be brought to chime with universal good, and lo, what music from the spheres shall through thee flow, what benefits shall come to thee unsought. Shut out the noise of traffic, rise above the body's clamor, with the soul's fine ear attune thyself to harmonies divine. All are written in the key of love. Keep to the score, and thou hast naught to fear. Achievements yet undreamed of shall be thine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Poems of Sentiment by Ella Wheeler Wilcox.